Hello, my friends. My name is Georges Cordoba, and I am thrilled to be part of the Strive Life Summit. My workshop, my presentation is all about our holistic health. You're going to walk away with a clear understanding of what holistic health means, and you're going to walk away with a roadmap to a healthier you in 2025. The title of my workshop is "You Can Move Your Mountains," and so we're going to discuss all this stuff in the next few minutes. But a little bit about myself: I was born in South America from parents from Greece and Spain. They migrated to Venezuela after World War II, and the two families met there, and my mom and dad got married, and my sister and I were born. And so my first language is Spanish, but I came to the States in 1978 as an exchange student to learn English and repeat my senior year in high school. And then I went back, and a year later, I won a full ride scholarship to play NCAA Division One tennis at New Mexico State University, where I got my bachelor's in computer science. I got then later on I moved to Miami for a job with IBM, and later I got my MBA from the University of Miami. But 7 years ago, about 21 years on my technology, let's say, journey, I was a CTO at the time. I decided to go and take the natural route and went and moved from technology to health and wellness. And I became a certified health and life coach, holistic health and life coach. Then I had a master's on transformational coaching. Then I became a Reiki master and Reiki practitioner. I worked for almost 2 years and became a hypnotherapist with functional, with rapid transformational therapy. Then I became also a nutritionist, and finally wrote a book about my story, which I'm going to share with you in a second. And the book became a bestseller. The first launch was in English, and it became bestseller on day one. And then 4 months later, I I published the Spanish version, and it also became bestseller on day one. And so I'm very proud to be here, and you'll see in a second why. But today I work with people who are dealing with cancer or the threat of it, and I help them transform their health and vitality. Now, many people ask me, well, why? Why did you and how you decide to go from technology in a very pretty stable position as a CTO to start all over in health and wellness? And I'll tell you why in a little bit. So, going back to the title of this presentation, you can move your mountains. And as you see here, uh, there are many mountains that we may be facing through our lives, okay? And we'll talk about in a little bit. But I want to tell you a little bit about myself, what happened to me. Since I was, many of my family members have died, and especially from the Greek side of my family, died of the very thing that plagued me. And when I looked at my family's landscape, I really felt that I would be doomed. The secret, if you had a chance to see that documentary or things like that about you attract what you don't want. Well, since I was 4 years old, I saw people in my family passing. My grandparent, I'm talking now, it's interesting because it's all in my Greek side of the family, but my grandfather, then his brother, then my grandmother's two of her three sisters from cancer. Later on, an uncle that well, actually it was my godfather. It was a cousin of my mother's. He passed from cancer. Later on, my uncle passed from cancer at the age of 55. And 3 weeks after my mother died of cancer as well, I was diagnosed with a disease. So I guess I always feared the disease. And when I was diagnosed, I really, in a way, I really said, man, I knew it. I knew it was going to come and hunt me. By the way, no one survived of all these people I mentioned, and there were some more. And but I said no. I said I'm going to beat the odds, and I basically said, I will be the first person in my family that survives this thing. And I went on my journey. And after 10 years and 10 surgeries, and four of them in my brain because I had metastasis, it was melanoma, malignant melanoma. I did survive the disease and beat the odds. I'm here. This past July, it was my 12 years free of cancer. Pharmaceuticals, my friend, almost destroyed my body. So I made a decision on year 8 to stop conventional treatments, and then I took the holistic health route, the holistic health journey to healing. And like I said, here I am. It worked, and thank God it's been 12 years and a few months, 12 and a half years almost, since I had cancer. So that was in terms of mountains, that has been my biggest mountain, or my, let's say, the heaviest or steepest. But when you look here at the screen, you can see uh, that there are many other mountains. It could be alcoholism, bankruptcy, financial issues, obesity, drug addiction, a divorce, this losing somebody that you really love, chronic diseases. You may lose your home, whatever it is, your job. You may have an accident that you have a long road to recuperate, to healing, to get back to health. All these are mountains, but guess what? We can move our mountains. And my keynote talks, when I'm a speaker as well, I forgot to tell you that I'm a professional speaker. My keynote talk is You Can Move Your Mountains. And it's all based on the famous biblical phrase, if you have faith as little as a mustard seed, which, by the way, is the smallest seed in the planet, you will tell this mountain, move from here to there, and you will move it. Now, that's what does that mean? Moving the mountain from here to there, moving out of, let's say, a divorce situation, and so it's anything that happens in front of you, any hurdles in front of you through your life journey. That's a mountain. But what did Jesus say mean about this? Well, he meant that if you put your faith into action, things will happen to you. And I want to say something here. What is faith? Uh, um, Faith, my friends, is the certainty of what you want. Because you know that if you take action, that source that is bigger than us, I'm a person of faith, I can say God will actually help you out. But you have to take action. This is not a magic wand. And by the way, I'm talking about all this stuff, and it's perfect timing because we start in 2025, and it's a great opportunity to finally say, okay, look, I have my resolution. I want to get better in health, whatever it is, but with a little bit of accountability. And I'll tell you, we'll work on some of these things right now. You will be able to transform your health somewhat, okay? But we have to take action. I heard at a seminar not too long ago that an intention without action becomes an illusion. Just like faith without action is dead. The Apostle James said a very, very, it was a warning. Do not deceive yourself. It's not about like going to church and tithing or whatever. Show me your faith with your actions. So, going forward in this presentation, I really make this bold statement. If you take action, and I'm going to give you the opportunity to do that through the workshop and later on, you will see some transformation in your health and vitality. All right. So there's so many things that I say in my talk, but I don't have enough time to go through to the real, let's say, public speaking sort of presentation. Now, here's something that it may surprise you or may not, but I just put this together in back in September. I was invited to be a speaker in Toronto, Ontario, and I took some time to do a research on our the state of health in the US and Canada. They're kind of similar, but they have a much smaller population. So, but with us, 157 million people, or 47.8%, suffer from one or two chronic diseases. That's crazy. According to the American Cancer Society and the National Cancer Institute, 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women will have cancer in their lifetime. Roughly 2 out of 3 US adults are overweight. That's 69% of the nation. And 1 of 3 are obese, 36% of the nation. If US trends continue unchanged, by 2030, which is around the corner, the estimates predict that nearly half of men and half of women will be obese. This is crazy, and we're not a healthy nation, and we wonder how many people we lost during COVID. We pretty much broke records. It's not because we have a larger population percentage wise. It's because we, look at these numbers, and so it hit us right at the right time, and many people couldn't make it. They didn't make it. So now we're gonna jump into the workshop, and I wanted to explain this. Um, Remember, I said I took the natural route, the holistic health journey, and obviously I learned what a holistic being is. We're not, my friends, we're not just a physical body. And we're a physical self, but in an integral way, holistic way, we also have an emotional self, a mental self, and a spiritual self. And my metaphor for this, when I talk to my clients, is, just imagine a four-legged table. Each of those legs is part of our holistic self. One is the physical, the other emotional, mental, and spiritual. If one of those legs is missing, the table can't stand. It's just as simple as that. What I found though is that, and this was me as well, back when I got sick, is that many people have two of those legs missing. In most cases, the spiritual leg is very weak, and we'll do an exercise later on to help you with some stuff. You're gonna enjoy it, and but it's two, and obviously, disease manifests in the body, but it starts somewhere else, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Just something to keep in mind. This I learned back in a few years ago, but all disease, my friends, all chronic disease, start in an acidic body, in inflamed bodies, inflamed tissues. Keep that in mind because there's no exception. All those 47% population people that in the nation that have chronic diseases, they have it because they have inflamed bodies. Okay, So we got to work on disinflame that, detox that, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. But holistic means, these four things. Which, by the way, the whole thing really is trying to tighten up. If those legs are missing or very loose, tighten them up so we can have some sort of a balance in our holistic self. However, we'll never, and this is really not a problem, but we'll never hit a completely balanced situation. The Chinese medicine, they say that there are only two times where we are 100% in balance. One is when we are born, and the other one is when we leave this planet, when it's our time to pass. Okay, and anything in the middle is adjusting to change, and that is really a beautiful challenge, because if you understand several things, and I'll tell you right now, you will not get sick. I wonder, who wants to be part of that statistic. However, though, if you are part of the statistic, if you have a chronic disease, if you're going through cancer, if you have hepatitis, if you have autoimmune situations, heart problems, uh, we can. I'll show you how, with the same formula, you can eliminate the environment where disease thrives. Okay, so let's move on. Here's where we start. Okay, I want you guys. I'm gonna take some time here, and I want you to click on this link and download the stuff that you're going to be working on today. And obviously, we're not probably not going to have time to do it all this initial, let's say, coaching roadmap, uh, but pretty much everything. Otherwise, you'll have a chance to contact me for clarity call and stuff. Do not worry about that. But go ahead and download this document, because we're going to do some work with them. And by the way, what I'm doing in this presentation is combining, kind of like mixing up sessions 1 through 3 out of 12 sessions that I have. It's a 90-day program to transform your health and vitality, whether you are going through cancer, like I said, or the threat of any disease, really, uh, which is prevention. How do we prevent being these statistics? Okay, so go ahead. I'm going to wait for a little bit. In the meantime, I can tell you, no one, my friends, want to hear a cancer diagnosis, or the news that we have hepatitis or diabetes or many of these chronic diseases that are really plaguing our nation. And part of the problem, and as a nutritionist, I could tell you, is it's what we eat, and the stuff that we seemingly, or for some reason, we seem to be hypnotized, and not even thinking about what is it that we're putting in our mouths. Okay, but that's only 25%. We'll talk about that in a second. So let's see. By now, perhaps you already downloaded your stuff. Give you another minute, and we will continue to go. I must say, in my book, as you download your stuff and get ready, I share many things that I did when I decided to go natural, and surrender to the process. Like I said, I'm a person of faith, and I got to a point on year 7, 8, when it was close to year 8. I had my third craniotomy, and finally they gave me this chemotherapy to to penetrate the brain. It was in forms of capsules, and imagine 8 years into this, we were pretty much broke, and we were doing good. My wife and I, as professionals, were doing very good, but we have 5 children, and they were young. So we ended up having to tap into their college funds and our 401ks and all this stuff. It was pretty expensive. And in this particular chemo, which they gave me in capsules, Imagine each capsule was $1,000, and I was on year 8. So my insurance, let's say, a tank was pretty much empty. This stuff started to be on us, and so that's really what prompted me. Not the insurance, but when I had the pills were to be taken Monday through Friday, and then take a break, and then Monday through Friday. And on my sixth one, my second Monday, I really felt that this stuff was gonna kill me, man. I was so hyper. I could just, I was, venting. It was really not a good experience. And at that moment, I said, you know what, this is not working for me. It's 8 years of surgery, treatment, remission, recurrence, surgery, treatment, remission, recurrence. I was tired, and I just thought, well, I can't live like this. Obviously, my 5 young kids, were really my motivating factor. My wife, and they grew up. I mean, it was 10 years battling this. So the four of them, in one way or another, as teenagers, they were wondering if they were going to lose their dad. So it wasn't easy. I have family members that are doctors. They really thought I was crazy when I was stopping the traditional treatments, chemo and radio. But I did it. I took it with a leap of faith. I did it just like I transitioned from technology to health and wellness. So by now you probably have everything there. And one of the documents that you downloaded says the 10 fundamental paradigms of transformational coaching. And I just put 5 in here. You'll notice that in your document, each of these paradigms have an explanation. And what I want you to do is, while I read this, I'm going to give you also a couple minutes to browse through that. You'll have more time on your own, and try to choose, just for now, just to practice that, choose your favorite one, the one that resonates the most to you. I just took 5 without putting the explanation, and I'll share them. One is, how you do one thing is how you do everything. The other one is, all behavior and experience has a positive intention. And check out what it says, the descriptions. It's interesting. And what I want to do is you're going to choose your top one, and the one that resonates the most to you, and you'll see why. The third one here is, the meaning someone makes about what happened. It's more meaningful than the content of what happened. We tend to, in this case, we tend in many cases to act like victims, and it's not really that bad what we're going through. But anyway, that is something that, that's one of my favorites. Read what it says. Now, this one is also very interesting. The fourth one I wrote here is, your challenges are your greatest gifts. And in one of the things that it says there is what I'm doing. I survived. I survived an advanced melanoma with metastasis in my brain. And I always say, and it's in my book, that surviving this this disease and this experience, for me, now that I look back, it was a blessing, because God gave me the chance to sing the song that I was born to sing, which is helping people. I was helping people through software, making big projects, Royal Caribbean and many others, in making companies being more productive with great with good software, and so. But what I really was born to do was helping people, and that's what I'm doing now. So today is not really, it's not a job. And the last one I have written here is, how is more useful than why. And that reminds me of a quote. I think I heard this from Tony Robbins. Life doesn't happen to you. It happens for you. Okay. So now, by now, you saw the paradigms, and this is the form, the setting form. This is really what your action guide, if you were my client, that I give you after the first session. We do all this goal setting. You finish it up at home, and basically then send it to me, complete it before the second session. Today, like I say, we're gonna kind of combine three in one. All right, but to go a little bit through this, you're gonna pick your favorite, or the paradigm that resonated the most for you. Then you're going to write down 1 to 3 specific measurable goals for your first 90 days of the year. Okay, it could be, for example, to lose 15 pounds and exercise 3 times a week. It could be uh, recuperating from an injury, whatever it is, whatever, let's say, your New Year's resolution is in terms of health. Just write specific measurable goals. The big mistake that people make with this is that they want it all yesterday, and they give up pretty quickly. And that's what happens every year, by the way. The intention is there. There's some action in the beginning, and then there is, oh, I quit. So the whole thing ends up being an illusion. So the third thing you're going to do here is you're going to write your big motivating factor. We call it MOFA. And basically, this person wants to go back and play soccer and run again. Okay, this is an example, but you can see that it's not like, let's say, a cancer patient. This varies depending on what you're going through, what kind of mountain you're facing. Okay, and then let me go back here. You have what we call anchors. If you don't know what that is you're gonna, for example, I had pictures of my kids, my young kids, when I was going through this battle with cancer. I also had a photo of myself winning a tennis match, and I had that on my mirror in my bathroom. And my favorite quote, my favorite motivating quote, I had on my screensaver. So those are the anchors that will remind me of really what is that I want to accomplish, and looking at my motivating factors and my goals. Okay. And finally, in the bottom, you see clutter. I'm clearing to make room for what I want. And in this case, in this example, well, the person might find some getting rid of some of the sodas that he or she drinks, and some of the sweet snacks. I have to make a pause here, but we'll talk in a few minutes about this. Um, one can of soda, my friends, it has between 9 and 12 teaspoons of refined sugar. Uh, that is really, really uh, a a red flag for disease, and I'll explain that in a few minutes. Okay, so but I've seen with clients sometimes, and this is not about, let's say, okay, I'm doing it right away. It may take a few steps. If you drink 3 cans of soda, let's say, daily, okay, start by drinking two, and then the third week try drinking one, and then just replace it. Find something that it doesn't have all this sugar. Okay, same with the snacks. So sometimes it's tough to make this change, and that's why it's all about changing the habits. Diets don't work, my friend. It works while you're doing the diet, but if you didn't change your ways, you're going to go back to where you were in a few months. Okay. So now we're going to go to what I usually share on the second session in my protocol, and it's called the Wheel of Life. Okay, and you're going to notice that in these documents that you have it. If we go from right to like clockwise, you see there spirituality, joy, social life, relationships, home environment, health, physical activity, home cooking, education, career, finances, creativity. What we're going to do is for each of these areas in this, let's say, uh, in this particular graph, the closer you get to the bullseye, the weaker you are in that area of your life. And the furthest you go away from the bullseye, that the stronger is that area of your life. All we want to do is kind of like have an idea. What you want to do is have an idea what are your weakest links, so you can work on them. It makes sense, and that's why this type of coaching, transformational coaching, is not like a month, 3 sessions, or so forth. It doesn't work. Okay, you have to, if you want to change your the couch in your apartment or your house, you have to get rid of the older one. If not, then you can have them both in there. So that's really the idea. Here's an example. This particular client, as you can see, uh, pretty affluent in finances, almost off the chart. But there's several areas there. Creativity, spirituality was low. As I told you, that's one of the legs of the table that is pretty low there. Joy, she wasn't doing very good. Obviously, when you are sick, you tend to get a little depressed, depending on the chemos or on the medicine too. You get, that's one of the common things. You get depressed. Social life, here's it very interesting because we always say we don't have time, and nobody's putting a gun in our head to say, hey, don't do it. So take some time for you and for socializing, being with your friends, being with some other family members, and then you see their relationships. Social life for this person was pretty much out there. Relationships right in the middle, home environment right in the middle, and you get the idea. The whole thing is that you're gonna draw a dot on each of this. She didn't do it on right on the lines, but put them on the line and then take a pencil or a pen like she did, and kind of like put together, connect all the dots. Ideally, you would like to have a circle and everything more towards the outside. But here, this is really a good exercise because it gives you a chance to say, okay, in this 90 days, let me align this with my goals, and I'll work on this stuff. Obviously, hopefully with a coach, because the thing is, people need to be held accountable. People need to work with somebody that not only is going to provide support and a method, but keep you accountable. Okay, and so now, and basically, you see in your documentation that you have the wheel of life. You'll be able to do it. If you want, take a couple minutes, and I'll just wait here. I can just, on the meantime, I can share some other stuff. I told you, as a nutritionist, for example, I can say that, which, by the way, I really specialize in the digestive tract. Okay, it's really amazing. Our design is just, it is divine. It is divine. We have a perfect machine inside. If we understand how it works and we help it work that way, we're not gonna get sick. But here's the deal: in terms of nutrition and digestion, 25%. Keep doing your wheel of life, and you're listening to me. 25% is what you eat, and 75% is what who you are when you're eating. Are you stressed out? Did you just have an argument with somebody in the street, or your boss or an employee, where you just stressed out in traffic? Whatever it is that kind of got you stressed out and anxious, that is recognized by one of the branches of our nervous system, the parasympathetic system, and it sends a message to our gut through the vagus nerve, saying, hey, you know what, George is stressed out, man. We can't really, this is not going to work. And so what happens, we have a poor digestion, and and that has a has a really really detrimental situation when it becomes a pattern, becomes a cycle. Here it is. Let's say you are having an amazing lunch, very nice lunch in a park, and then all of a sudden you see this pit bull running towards you, and you know that his intentions is to attack you. You have two choices: you fight this creature or you fly away. So typically, what we do is, okay, let's fly away. So your body produces serotonin and and cortisol to get your getting running as far as possible, as fast as possible out of that situation. Your bones and your muscles are, in alert. And what happened to digestion? Well, that stayed back, it froze, and the stomach ends up sending this stuff to fat. It just couldn't finish the digestion. So, but here's the trick. Uh, our nervous system doesn't know if it's a pit bull, a bear, or if you're stressed out, just because you have to do an errand and you have no time. So you're eating so fast. The average American, my friends, eats in 10 minutes. And the average American chews the food. They do 6 chews before they swallow. Get what happens with that? I'll explain you in a sec. Right now, digestion, my friends, starts in your mouth. So we need to chew more. So our saliva enzymes process the food before it goes to the stomach. It's just an assembly line. Okay, if we interrupt that in any of the steps, our digestion doesn't go well. However, we break it right when we put the food in our mouth. Instead of chewing, let's say, depending on the type of food you put in your mouth, you might have to choose 30 times. What is good for that is that you're going to enjoy the flavor of that food even more. But because we're in a hurry, what we do is we dump this bomb to the stomach, and the stomach has no idea what to do. It's not designed for that. So it takes all this stuff into fat. Guess what? That fat becomes acidic. And therefore, if you keep this trend, you're going to end up getting a doctor's bill saying, hey, man, you got sick. Because all the nutrients that were supposed to go to our system through the, pancreas, our small intestine, pancreas, liver, it didn't happen. Very little happened. So guess what happens? 30 minutes later, you're hungry again, and you go and eat again, but you eat fast. So there's many things. We don't have time to do all this stuff. I hope I can finish this up, but I want to end up telling you a little bit about this, how we can help uh, ourselves to avoid disease and actually manage ourselves back to health. And here's one. But before we keep going there, we're talking about how to eat. Remember, 75% is what we eat. And here's these two scales are really important as well. Many people go to eat, you know, when they're already on a 10 level, starving. Man, I'm starving. I gotta go eat. And then imagine they go eat, but they have to do errands. So they eat in 10 minutes, the fast food thing. And that's a no-no. That's exactly what I was explaining a few minutes ago. It just we're not designed for that. But also, when we start eating, most of us, in this, let's say, those statistics, almost 48% of the nation, we don't stop. We have also a fullness scale, not a hunger scale, but a fullness scale. When you realizing that you're getting, let's say, to a 7 level, I'm okay, stop. And if you're in a restaurant, just ask for the rest. Take it home. Take the rest home. But we don't do that. In many cases, we just wait until the plate is completely full. And guess what? Here in the States, and you guys know this, the plates are so full. Uh, I have to share that my wife and I order just one plate, and we're fine with that. So that's in terms of how to eat. Okay, that's a little bit of, you'll see there. You have a few things. You have a few things there about how to chew, and other things. But the most important thing in this workshop is a balanced pH. And this is something that I run into when I decided to go natural. That was the first thing that I got, because this people that I call in the book angels started really appearing in my life in the form of humans. They could have been a friend or his wife or an employee, anyone that by the way, I had no idea that would step forward to help us. Because I say help us, I was going through cancer, but my wife was dealing with 5 kids and me. The caregiver is really going through it. Everybody in the family has cancer when somebody has cancer. So here's what this guy, I was sent to a naturopath, and he told me about the pH balance. And he said, George, no one, disease cannot grow if we have a balanced pH. So if you're not sick, you will never get sick. But if you are sick, like you are in your case, an acidic body is really the environment, it's the farm for cancer cells to strive and duplicate and triplicate and permute. And but if you start taking that environment away from it, getting back to a balanced pH, eventually you have taken away the environment for this stuff to grow, and you go back to health. Isn't that amazing? And so you have the book in there, the ebook. Go through it. I put there some recipes and juices. It also, I explained some of the myths about the acidity in the body. Sometimes it's a good acid, like when you get a massage or you go running, but you actually expel that with water and sweat. Okay. And I also um I'm sharing a table there called, I call it the alkaline table, where it shows you what foods are acidic and or what foods are alkaline. And what I do with my clients is I teach them how to prepare in a pH balanced plate. As a nutritionist, I don't believe in extremes, veganism, paleo, keto. No, we need to eat some very good carbs, healthy fats, and healthy proteins. And guess what? There's so much stuff out there that eventually, when you really go through, let's say 21 days or more doing this stuff, you really start liking it. And then you go back and have, let's say, a coffee with sugar, and you go, oh my God, crazy. So this is pretty much it. I hope you guys enjoyed this interactive stuff. If you're working on this stuff, congratulations. Otherwise, you have time, after this summit to work on this, and you'll have a link in there. So, to book a clarity call if you really, get stuck on or have any questions about some other stuff that you can keep, basically working on, so your roadmap for 90 days stays on track. Okay. And I want to finish up by sharing a couple quotes with you. The first one, really, it's like I said, it's physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. And so here's one that really, I love it. I have it actually in my signature emails. No one will believe in you until you believe in you. The other one is anyone, and this one is so amazing. That one resonated. So all of this are in my book, by the way. Anyone can give up. It is the easiest thing in the world to do. But to hold it together when everyone else would understand if you fell apart, that's true strength. And this one by Frida Kahlo, it's about forgiveness. And the VIP folks are getting an amazing package there worth close to $1,000. But forgiveness, which we didn't talk about, I actually focus more on the physical self. But this one is more about the emotional self. By putting walls around your suffering, you risk letting it devour you from the inside. So we need to be open. If you're going through a disease right now, open up to receive and let go. Let people know that you're sick, people that you know that will step up to help you. Many people just stay quiet, and that's not good. We need support. And then the last one is it's just very powerful. Leaving is the strongest thing in the world. The strangest, I'm sorry, leaving is the strangest thing in the world. The majority of people exists. That's all. Okay, my friend, I hope you enjoyed this presentation. Again, if you have any questions, you can reach out and book a clarity call. I have them for half hour, and enjoy some of the stuff that I gave you. And I wish you, I wish you a wonderful, successful, and healthy 2025. God bless you.